Okay, so you guys are all in my Spanish 112 Elementary Spanish 2 FJT01. And so if you saw on your roster, it probably told you that there's two rooms that we're meeting in, AT 252 and 253. That is because of what's going on with coronavirus, they wanted us to keep the social distancing, to split students into two rooms and to teach the lesson in one room and have it projected in the other. And I played around with the technology. I just don't think it's going to be the best way for us to do that. So what we're going to do instead is I'm getting ready to send this to you guys to avoid having to use the two rooms for the up until the census date, which is the 27th, because everyone has to show up for census. We want to give everyone as much opportunity as possible to show up for census, because if you don't show up for census, then you get kicked out of the class. I have broken you guys into A group and B group, and I just did it. I didn't mix up the alphabet. I just basically went halfway down the list and cut it in half. So for group A, and I'll send it to you, these are the people that are in group A. I'm going to have you guys come to AT 253 from 9 to 9:35, and that's just going to be through census, so the first couple of classes. Then starting 9/1, September the 1st, which is when we'll be done, the first class we have after reaching census, you guys are going to come just on Tuesdays. Group B, you guys are going to come from 8:18 to 8:27, from 9:45 to 10:15, and then after September the 1st, you're going to start coming on Thursdays, not on Tuesdays. And that way, you don't have to have your instruction via Teams. You get to see me. But I did want to assure you, because things are going to look funky this year, that I have the class set up the way I would for an online class. So you're going to have all the resources that the online students do, because we're not going to have as much time in the classroom. So I didn't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to cover everything. It will get covered. So I'm just running through your class again. I had done an introduction to the class, but I wanted to do yours separate since you guys have things a little differently. And in fact, in the first video I had made, I had put helpful information up here, but they really don't like us to have anything other than the name of the course in the first block. So I've made a new block over on the side, and if you're using your phone, the blocks on the side get pushed to the bottom, so make sure you scroll all the way through the course to see it. But I put helpful information over here. So, and I will try to constantly update this. Hopefully it's close enough to the top that you'll remember to look at it. But homework is always due on Thursdays, and we're going to do that online. I have a temporary access code for my language labs, which is the third-party software that we use. I have since in the past, and if you guys have had Spanish 111, your teachers probably heavily relied on my language labs. But when we first went through this coronavirus situation, I got to see things from a student perspective, because even though my kids are not at the same level you guys are, they're in middle and elementary school, I still got to see what it was like from a student doing online learning. And I realized that going to multiple sites is a pain in the butt, and also that you need a lot of support from your instructors. So I took everything that I usually make people do in my language labs and moved it into Moodle. So you're really going to only have to go here. What you'll need for my language labs is your book. That's it. But this is a temporary access code that you can use to set yourself up in my language labs. It expires after 14 days, and at that point you'd have to buy it. But you can use it while you're trying to figure out how you're going to buy my language labs. And this is the course code, which you'll need along with the access code. And to know how to set yourself up in my language labs, if you go to the Start Here block, here is how to set yourself in my language labs if you're starting brand new. If you had my language labs access last semester, then this will tell you how to get into my class. What else is over here? I tried to put a link to live chat for technical support, because even though we are going to be meeting, we're still going to be heavily relying on the computer, and a lot of your classes will, and there could be an instance where the school has to shut down. And I know we're going completely online, I think right around Thanksgiving. So at some point during the semester, you will end up online. It's just a question of when. So I figured you might need more. If you need more support, there's a link to technical support. There's the phone number. The video I'm making now, I'm going to place here. I'm going to replace it with the one I'm making for you now. This again takes you to my language labs. This stuff tells you how to make accent marks. There's a COVID hotline, and I'll try to send you guys the COVID stuff as well. But essentially, if you contract coronavirus, you're supposed to call this hotline so we can do tracking and tracing. Titan Link, also I wanted to put that there. They provide resources and assist with non-academic challenges like housing, transportation, food, childcare. I know they helped last year too with people when we completely went online and people needed computers and they needed Wi-Fi. So if you're having any trouble, that it's not specifically having the virus, but like anything related to having some issues with coronavirus, like having access to internet, etc., I would check out Titan Link. So that's why I put that there. And you can reach out to me too, and I'll try to do the best I can to get you connected with who needs to help you. But just so that you know how things are going to work, that Start Here block has how to get yourself set up in my language labs. It also tells you when Pearson, I think I put when they will be on camp. Let me pull this up for a minute because I'm not sure if I replaced it in this class or not. This is not when they're going to be on campus because obviously with coronavirus, it's virtual. So I just need to change that heading. So this is when they're going to be available virtually if you need help from Pearson. But considering we're not relying heavily on Pearson, you're probably going to be okay without reaching out to them. So anyway, let's see. All right. So then how the class looks in the middle, I have it set up. It's open. I'll probably go through and close off with, because I don't want you guys to work too far in advance. But you should be able to see, maybe I'll leave like 2 weeks up at a time. And you will see the dates. I put the whole week out there, but I want homework due on Thursday. So even though I set it up as weeks, just for organizational purposes, I think it would be weird to say, August, like have a truncated week. I wanted the week to actually read the whole week. But just remember your work is due on Thursdays. So it'll have the week listed and it'll have the topic that we're studying. And when you open it up, it's going to tell you the pages in the book to study, our objectives, when the assignments are due, and then it'll have various assignments below. The one I want to talk about the most is, well, I'll talk about them all, but the ones that just say assignment, like assignment 3, assignment 4, etc., they'll look like this with little checkbox. When you open them up, that is what I have taken from my language labs. Okay, so when you go out here, I have your instruction videos and then the activities all together in one place. So when you're doing this, it says like chapter 4 vocabulary videos. You want to watch these videos which introduce the content before you try to do the activity. So we're going to try to cover this content in class, but knowing that our class is a little bit truncated and that we're not going to meet every day, I'm not always going to be able to cover every single element that I would have if our class was functioning normally. Okay, so this is supplemental. These are videos of lessons that go, so like periodically they'll be throughout here. So for example, this one's vocabulary, and then you'll have vocabulary activities, and I try to make videos that explain the assignment and model it before you have to do it. So all throughout here you'll see some content videos that explain to you the content, and then videos that explain each activity. So you do that activity, and then down here when you're doing SAM 4.2, there's a video that explains it. And I usually walk through a couple so that you're not just, so it's being modeled for you, okay? And then if you go down even further, that's still vocabulary. And then I think still vocabulary. I was trying to see if I had any more. I think for this one it was just vocabulary, so all the content videos are up here. Occasionally you'll have more than one concept you're learning in a week, and so you'll want to, throughout this activity, you may have some more content videos. You'll have 2 attempts for all of these, and it gives you the right answers, so do it one time through, and if you get the wrong answers, you'll be able to see the right answers, then you do it one more time to get the best grade possible. So let me see here what else there is. Class participation. This is just a check-in for me. So each week I do want you to post. You'll just open up the class participation forum, and I'll have a little video that'll explain how to do the class participation forum. And so I just want you to go through and tell me any questions or concerns you have about material covered in the class so far. And then for this first week, I do have a syllabus assignment where I ask you to look at your syllabus and then post any questions or concerns you have about it. And then you've got this cultural assignment here. And so anyway, the point is just that there'll be various assignments, but in each one there's a video that will tell you how to do the assignment. So if you're not sure what you're doing, make sure you watch the video. Over on the right, and not just that helpful hints, but there is my information. I'm not sure how we're handling office hours yet, so I'll probably update that information in the coming weeks. I plan to, apart from the very first day, be there mostly in the mornings from like 8 to 10 on campus, but because of the coronavirus, I would prefer to meet via Teams rather than face-to-face. So anyway, I also put out there the texting for you guys. So you can use Remind and you can text me. This tells you how to use Teams. So I think it's pretty easy. Like once you have Teams on your computer, the class should pop up for you and you can just click on our class and like you just would need to let me know that you wanted to meet so I can set up a meeting. But once you click into the class, I think it'll show you that there's a meeting in progress and it'll ask if you want to join, or I can send you an invite. This down here is our course information, so you can see like the syllabus in 2 formats, the schedule, which is in the syllabus, the book, the grading criteria. Those are the rubrics I use to grade you guys, but those are embedded in the assignments in which I use it. And then there's resources like tutoring, and there's a number to get in touch with my language labs, the course code again. So some of the stuff, and then there's the drop ad form. So if at any point before the the final withdrawal date, if you want to withdraw from the class, you can just click on this and walk through the steps. But I just wanted you to see that I have a lot of support out here. So even if we're not always if we're not in the classroom as much as you probably, were expecting, like what it was like last year, I just want you to know that you are being supported, and you can always reach out to me. And probably the best way to do it would be using the Remind app, just because it's easiest to, I see that pop up on my phone. Like you can email me, but you may get a slower response. Remind, I'm pretty quick with. And then if you need that face-to-face interaction, again, we can always set up a Teams meeting. And those are pretty good because we can share the screen. And if you don't like Teams and you want to use something else like Zoom, I'm okay with doing that as well. So if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me.